Welcome to our It's Electra series.
In this series, we're going to share with you gear based on and inspired by the Electra Distortion circuit.
Join us on this journey where we get the most tone out of the least circuit. Today we're looking at the Kanata pedal from TL Pedals, which is made in Canada.
I'm glad you figured that out.
Yeah, I had to put the duh in Canada for Kanata.
Right, so another pedal in the Electra series based on the Tchula from Lovepedal, which is based on the Electra Distortion. I think the story goes Tim's friend called him up and kind of wanted him to build him the Tchula. Mm-hmm. And so you can't just leave something alone. You got to add your own little tweaks and change it up a little bit. So we'll get into the differences and why this is a little bit different here in a minute. Jumping right into the pedal features, you have a foot switch over here. Press that foot switch, turns it on, nothing to adjust. You just locked in.
So what did he do with the other half? What's the other half do?
So, yeah, I mean, I think I've done enough at this point.
I should probably tap out.
Let's send it over to Tim to discuss that second button.
Clicking onto the switch is just taking that bias resistor and then just changing it to a variable resistor with that pot. So the one knob allows you to increase the gain rather than just switching the pedal on and off on the main like standby switch. Is basically unity gain. Yeah, essentially, if the knob's all the way down, it's just about the same value as the set resistor for the bias on that transistor.
Big thank you to Tim for taking some time to talk to us. We've become good friends with him throughout the show. Mm-hmm. All of his pedals, just killer stuff. And so it's always nice to get a chance to talk to him. So yeah, I mean, fixed. First side is like that gain knob is stuck at a spot. You can't move it. You click it over the second side, this knob now lets you add more gain. If you roll that all the way back, it's pretty much where the first side left off.
Right, you're not going to get less.
You're not going to get less.
Right.
And that right there is pretty much the Tchula.
Mm-hmm. But Tim just couldn't leave well enough alone because I see a toggle switch.
Right, so Tim adds a toggle switch to it. This is interesting. It's a 3-position toggle switch. In the up position, you have one set of diodes. If you go all the way to the down position, you have another set of diodes. The second set of diodes, I think, is going to give you a little more headroom. So when we start playing with it, you'll probably hear with the switch up, it's going to have a little more drive to it. With the switch down, little louder, little less drive. It'll take a little longer for it to break up. In the middle, and then Tim does this on a lot of his pedals. I think he did it on the Honker. He did it on the Tremo tremolo that we have. Mm-hmm. When all else fails, if you're tired of using the pedal, you put it in the middle position, you have a boost. Mm-hmm. So he makes a really nice boost out of it too. So pretty much that middle position chops off those diodes at the end. So if you remember the Electra Distortion circuit, transistor followed by 2 diodes, cut the diodes off, now you're back to something more like an LPB1 or something like that, mm-hmm. right? So pretty cool little feature to add in there as well. So
it's like the Canada Swiss Army knife.
Yes. Want to get into the sounds?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm playing one of the Beard Strats. I always forget the year of this one. I want to say 98.
So he's playing one of my Strats, and he has some beautiful Strats of his own.
They live at the church, some of them. Through the Tyler, PT22. We have the Dispatch Master on. I'm going to play it in the 4th position. I might move it to the neck at some point, but... with the reverb in there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go side 1. We have the toggle in that position. Let's do this. Let's go to side 1, play it, and then I'll move the toggle to the down position, and we'll just A, B, just side 1, up and down. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. It is more headroom, right? Let's take that back up. And so now I'm going to move this all the way down.
All right.
And I don't know what it does all the way down when you hit it on.
Yeah, because you can't go below that. But what happens if it's all the way down? What tonally or anything else? We're gonna find out.
So we're gonna click it on, roll this around. I'll go all the way back down again. Go to the bottom position on the toggle and roll it around again.
All right.
I'm really not sure. Part of me leans, I think when I used it live, I leaned towards the bottom position with a little bit more headroom and stuff. One reason is I really like it pushing into another amp or another pedal.
Right.
Anyway, the only thing that we didn't look at is that middle position. And I do want to say, while you're playing, I was thinking about we have a Tchula, and we'll do an episode on that. And we interviewed Josh Smith, and he talked a little bit about how he uses it, where he uses it, and that. And so some of those clips from that interview that didn't make it into the series premiere will make it. So it'll give you an idea of maybe how and where you would use some of that stuff from him, because he's kind of the master at this pedal. Let's go to the boost, and we'll just do clean. Click it on the boost, and then even click over here with it at 50 just to see.
All right.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly pushes the amp too
It
when you
does.
get onto that second channel of it. So, one of the things in all of these that we're going to do, they're really great for stacking, right?
You just said stacking.
Yeah.
You've come a long way. We've come a long way.
You played with your volume knob on the last
I
episode,
know.
and I said
Something's
stacking on
happening
this.
here. We think we like it. We're not sure.
So, just to kind of keep all of these episodes, where if you're starting to compare ones and see
Right.
what you like, the same, we've put the Greer Lightspeed in front of the Kanata, and we put the Greer Tomahawk after it, just like we've done in the other ones so far. So, I think we turn on the Kanata, hit the Lightspeed into it, and then turn that off, and then turn on the Tomahawk after it. The question is, I guess we start with the middle toggle, maybe at the top.
Okay.
So this would be the lower headroom diodes. And go from there.
Yeah, and I might switch to the second position, pick up Sweet Home Alabama, but I'm not going to play it. Don't worry.
I realized after I did that, it'd probably be more helpful to hear these by themselves
Right.
than that on, so I made you go around again.
That's fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
So volume knob.
Yeah, because I think Tim talked a little bit about that when you talked to him about it reacts well to the volume knob and maybe even a little bit to the tone knob.
Should we play that little clip that's in?
Probably should, because he probably said it a lot better than I didn't just say it.
I think a lot of like jazz guys and a lot of the guys that are finger picking a lot, they actually play around with their volume and tone control quite a lot. I think you mentioned that on the Nick Greer video too, that you don't have to run your volume wide open all the time. And the same thing kind of works with your tone control too. Like if you run your tone control at 50%, then set all your tone the way you like it, then you actually have more bright right there on your guitar without having to change any pedal settings or anything. So with that circuit being pretty bright to start with, I think it kind of works with that that mentality where if you want more volume, just turn the volume up on your guitar. And it'll also allows you to run your amp a lot hotter, so you can have a lot more clean headroom from your amplifier too, rather than just running your volume and tone on 10 all the time like a lot of people do.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about volume knobs and pedals like this. So really, to me, I think one of the places they shine is with the volume knob. When you start to roll the volume knob back, they clean up, but they keep the brightness to them. Mm-hmm. They keep, some of that, maybe a little bit of dirt or whatever. They really shine there. Really interesting. When we put the Tchula pedal out, maybe there'll be some clips in there from Josh Smith talking about this pedal. This pedal's a pedal. I think all of these pedals are pedals that like to be run in a hot amp. They want your amp to be kind of cranked up near the edge of breakup, on the edge of breakup. Not so much maybe a bedroom amp, bedroom level, right? Not like, a real low level amp. They're not going to have the same sound. They're not going to react the same. Right. Josh Smith talked a lot about that. Like people buy the Tchulas thinking they're going to sound like him. They're like, my pedal doesn't sound anything like yours. Well, he's running like super and typically 2 amps. I know one's a super. I forget what the other one is off the top of my head. But he's running 2 amps and they're cranked. He's pushing air. And so let's see how the Kanata reacts a little bit to the volume knob. So start.
What's your clean tone?
Clean tone. Yeah. I give up. That's terrible. And I'm leaving it in.
Because he has to edit.
Yes. It's just terrible. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. Just your clean tone with that guitar and that amp's great. It's a great guitar, great amp. You put that on, you roll the tone back, it just brings top end and a depth to the sound without cranking it, right? Like when you take it back down.
Like if I play that chord again, and then you click it on, and I'm just going to roll it back right away. So dry all the way up.
Yeah, it brings almost like a single coil brightness to it. Like it really livens it up.
Right. And Tim talked about how these pedals are pretty bright. This is a bright pedal. And it's almost, he kind of compared it to almost like a treble bleed when you roll your volume back. Like a lot of people put a treble bleed in their guitar, put a treble bleed in their volume pedal. This almost kind of acts like that when you roll your volume back. This brings some of those, to me, brings some of those high ends in. And I think that's one of the reasons I've really fallen in love with this style of circuit on my board, because I love to roll the volume back to play rhythm and still have everything when I go up. And that just keeps everything kind of bright and spanky and spanky.
Not alfalfa? Spanky?
Spanky. So, yeah, I mean, great stuff. And versatile. I mean, you know, you have this by itself is great. Couple options, and then the ability to really, if you're in a situation where you want to throw a lead and you just don't have enough, if you're one of those, please sir, can I have some more moments, you have the second channel to hit on. So super versatile, well made. He uses great quality components. There's a reason he was on our top favorite pedal list of 2020, and probably very likely will be again in 2021. So, anything to add?
No, it's really great. I'll be honest. I mean, I don't know if this is the time I'm supposed to be honest. When we first got it and we're using it, I really didn't like it because I don't think I knew what to do with it.
Right.
And I think I always thought, oh, this side with more is what you want. And it wasn't. But man, it's really nice. I think I'm understanding more what it's supposed to do. Not what I think I want it to do.
Because at first, when we first started, I mean, we're talking way back. We're talking before, in the birth of this series, when we were first starting to get pedals, first starting to think about what the Electra Distortion was. I think one day I had it, and I just walked over and put it on your board like 5 minutes before we started to play.
Right.
Here it is, and you had never played with the Electra thing.
Right.
But as time has gone on, even with some, because it reminds me, maybe I'm stepping on sacred ground here, but kind of reminds me of the way you use a Klon. So like we had the Mythos, right?
Yeah,
you had the Mythos on the Mjolnir on your board. It kind of reminds me of, you're using that in much the same way I'm using this.
Right. It's first for me, but yes, exactly. It's
well, on my board
to bring
it's
some
first
top
for
end,
me too.
to bring some top end and a little depth to my playing. There you go. Well, so
could you replace your Klon with Electra Distortion?
Could you unscrew, take the back off, and use it as an ashtray? That's when you know you've mastered the Klon.
Maybe that's all a Klon really is.
I mean, it's just an ashtray.
Well, a lot of people that you actually, just so everybody knows, if you take this middle toggle and put it into the boost position, that's the same as using your Klon without the gain on.
He said I didn't.
Just gonna throw it out there. So he's almost like he's built
the two ways that people use Klon.
Or at least one way that people...
Right.
All right, before we get in trouble.
Yeah, we use the word Klon a lot. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
So, always take a minute just to thank everybody for watching, hitting the subscribe button, clicking notifications, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. Leaving comments down below. Anytime you interact with the show, it really helps us out, helps us keep doing this stuff, which is a lot of fun, and we really appreciate you supporting us in that way. And I think with that...
I'm PJ, on behalf of the beer, reminding you... I said beer again. It must be the Labatt's.
Canada on the brain.
I'm Le PJ on behalf of Labatt's. PJ, on behalf of the beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. That sounded really good.